Now, if you've been with us, you've seen the bus.
The whim of a madman. I like that.
The whim of a madman. What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope you guys are having a great day. I got to say that as a Cowboy fan, a lifelong Cowboy fan, and you have to understand what I have seen in my lifetime. I saw the Hail Mary when it happened. I saw Tony Dorsett run for 99 yards. I remember when we beat the Miami Dolphins for our first Super Bowl. I remember us playing against the Orange Crush defense where they had John Denver. I will always remember them talking to John Denver to say, hey, John Denver, are you a Denver Bronco fan? Of course he was. And playing against Craig Morton, who was the quarterback, with Roger Staubach, that literally were like two ships passing in the night because Tom Landry couldn't decide who to be the quarterback. He literally alternated series. Didn't work. And by the end of the year, Roger Staubach was the starting quarterback, and the Cowboys won their first Super Bowl. I've seen it all. I remember the good old days when people watched the Dallas Cowboys because it was about excellence on the field. When you saw that Dallas Cowboys Great Wall of Dallas, it was incredible. Seeing Emmitt Smith running, separated shoulder, going against the New York Giants. Seeing Charles Haley literally putting the fear of God in people. Now, people just watch us because it's like a shit show. Yeah. So this is a little tad bit. Just a little tad bit here. I want a tad of it. Like Tad Prescott? Tad? Okay. It's actually not Tad Prescott, but it's Jane Slater. But a tidbit, not a tad bit. Okay? It should be a tad if we're talking about Dak Prescott. It's hard to be a Cowboy fan right now with all that's going on with Micah Parsons. We are literally on the cusp of the Eagles game. 8 days from now, we'll be in the first quarter of the game. And I don't know about you, this mess that we're dealing with Micah Parsons, every day it just gets worse. Let's go to the tape.
Him. They should have done it before the draft. And I will tell you, 2 years ago, they sort of kicked it around in the building, and people would say, well, why would they kick it around the building? Micah is not that player that gets in trouble off the field. He's more of, I guess it's described as a nuisance, which I think, to fan bases like the Packers, they would take a nuisance all day, right? But it's more nuanced than that in Dallas. I do think that, the laying on the training table, even though it was for a little bit, it's just those little things. It's the body language during the games. And if you're not careful, this can help when he got his extension. I think the only difference here, at least on this one, is talk about it in generalities. They then send you an offer sheet that you basically sign off. It's not an official contract yet. Then it goes to the legal department. You redline it, then it's official. And so for Jerry to hold Micah to a precedent that you haven't done in Dallas before just seems so odd to me. And we haven't seen it. And he admitted it to me when I asked Jerry, has there been an offer sheet extended? And there hasn't. But I have to wonder, with now it being a distraction a bit, are people in the building say, Jerry, it would be negligent of us to not at least consider the generational haul that could be Micah Parsons? And whether that's a reality right now or not, or if they're using it as a stalling technique to make Micah a little uncomfortable, they are moving a little bit differently around there. And as much as Micah has said he wants to be traded, he's got to think, and I know Jerry uses this in negotiations and it's annoying, but it's true, what comes with the star on your helmet versus playing for the Green Bay Packers? No disrespect for the people up in Appleton.
Yeah, Green Bay Packers sell out every stadium they go to, but you're right. Dallas business, I assume, much kinder to the Dallas Cowboys players with deals and contracts around town than maybe in Green Bay or anywhere else, I would assume, because Jerry is a phenomenal businessman. And we've heard him say, when there's nothing being talked about, I'll fucking stir it up a little bit. And everybody's like, Jerry, that's what we're talking about. We don't need to stir it up. We're trying to win a football game.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Jerry Jones will stir it up. Now, here's what happened. Now, so I went on the Dan Saleo show. It's funny how going on there that it seems to be one of their most popular segments. I guess they enjoy seeing a train wreck and seeing me suffer. All I got to say is, man, Eagles, there's no way, no how that the Dallas Cowboys should have any chance in that game. Do not lose that game because, you can say, well, that's your Super Bowl. Okay, that's fine because I'm going to ride you until the next time we play. I'm just letting you know. I don't think we got a chance in it. But here's what Philly 500 said. He said, you might as well go ahead and trade Micah Parsons so that way you can start the process of rebuilding, because Dan asked, he said, how many players are you away? I said, we need a legitimate running back. Okay. I don't know, maybe Jaden Blue or Phil Maffa or the guys or Javonte Williams. I don't think so. I said, we need truly one or two defensive tackles that are run stuffers. I said, we probably need another cornerback. And I said, another offensive lineman to really get there. So that's like 4 players. And so Philly's saying is, well, trade Micah and you can get some more players. Well, that makes another hole we have to fill. And what if you end up, trading to somebody, they play really well. Then it turns out those number 1 picks might be, in the 30s. In which case you're really getting second round picks. Or what if the picks are like Mozzie and Tyler Guyton? Are you giving up Micah Parsons for Tyler Guyton and Mozzie Smith? Here's the reality. The problem for the Cowboys is they don't use all the tools available to them. If you look at what the Cowboys did with the draft and what they did with their 53-man roster and what they did, of course, the waiver wire is they believe in the guys they drafted, or they believe in guys that they were projected to draft that didn't make it well with other teams. They only believe in that. And instead of saying, we're short in a position like defensive tackle, they're going to go ahead and just say, well, we'll take, we'll take a regular tackle and we'll move him down as a 1 technique. We'll take a defensive end and play him at tackle. We'll take a safety and play him at linebacker. Or we'll take one of these guys that we already have on the roster. And see, when you don't use free agency, you have to understand, you can't build a team through free agency. But you have to understand that when you lose a player, that you want to replace him with somebody better, not somebody that's worse. And if you don't use free agency, which the Cowboys really don't, you're never going to win it. So saying trade Micah, and start over and rebuild, you're relying on the guys to rebuild here that don't believe in using everything. So we're kind of stuck in purgatory until they recognize maybe we need to go out and get a legitimate starter and pay for that. And all these problems circle around to one spot. Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones loves the circus, and he's got the 3-ring circus right now in full gear. Get your cotton candy and your popcorn, kick back and watch. I just wish we were watching a team playing excellent with a chance to go to the Super Bowl as opposed to a train wreck. All right, you good people. I'll see you on the NFC East roundtable beat down on the Cowboys in a few minutes. Peace.